This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Whether you're packing for a vacation or dressing for a wedding, Nordstrom has head-to-toe looks for wherever summer takes you. From swimwear and bold color to romantic florals and dresses that make an entrance, find the right style for every unforgettable moment. Shop new arrivals from brands you love like Farm Rio, Free People, Vince, Wait, and Stod. Plus free shipping and returns and styling help whenever you need it make it all so easy. Shop now in stores at Nordstrom.com or download the Nordstrom app.
Girl, winter is so last season. And now spring's got you looking at pictures of tank tops with hungry eyes. Your algorithm is feeding you cutoffs. You're thirsty for the sun on your shoulders. That perfect hang on the patio sundress. Those sandals you can wear all day and all night. And you've had enough of shopping from your couch. Done hoping it looks anything like the picture when you tear open that envelope? It's time for a little in-person spring treat. It's time for a trip to Ross. Work your magic.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV! Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
The truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Hey, it's JJ Virgin, and welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show. And this is where I talk nutrition, exercise, mindset, and lifestyle with some of the coolest people in the world, and give you tips that you can put into immediate action to up-level your health so that you can go out there and live that big life you're meant to live. Now, today's show is all about magic soup. Yeah, today I'm going to share something that honestly is as close to the fountain of youth or a magic potion as anything I've ever seen. In fact, when I interviewed this guest, I made a commitment right then and there to start drinking this myself. And I know that when you hear about this, you're going to feel the exact same way. And in fact, you're going to start hearing about this all over the place. Who I'm going to introduce you to is a woman who's actually become one of my closest friends, Dr. Kellyann Petrucci. And you are going to see this book, and I'm going to tell you to grab this book. Dr. Kellyan's Bone Broth is going to go everywhere. She's got a public television show coming out. This is just going to become so mainstream. And she has got the stats to prove that you're going to want to jump on board. She's a weight loss and national anti-aging transformation expert and a naturopathic doctor who's been in private practice in Birmingham, Michigan, but also pops over to LA and New York because she has a concierge celebrity practice. I'm not allowed to name names, but suffice to say you would be blown away by some of the people that she's gotten on Bone Broth and on her program. She's a regular guest on a ton of TV, including The Doctors and Dr. Oz, a lot of national TV shows, and she's authored 6 books already, including Living Paleo for Dummies, and that is the biggest paleo book of all time and the highest-selling dummies book of all time. Also, she's a regular contributor to the Huffington Post and Mind Body Green, and the creator of the 30-Day Reset program, which helps people lose weight, regain their energy, and reverse the effects of aging. I mean, who does not want all of that? Now, I'm sure you figured out this is Bone Broth, is that magic soup that I was talking about, and obviously Kellyanne's going to be sharing about that here in the interview, but she's also going to share 2 hidden reasons that may be preventing you from losing weight. And I know you definitely want to hear more about that, so let's do it. So, Dr. Kellyann, you say that there are 2 silent or hidden reasons why so many people have stubborn or resistant weight loss. So, of course, we're dying to know what they are.
Yeah, and here's how, this is exactly why they get you. They get you because no one knows it's happening because they're silent. And that's the key word here. So they creep up on you. And not only do they cause you to gain weight, but they really place such havoc on your health that it's worth knowing. And the first one is chronic inflammation. I mean, this is the one thing that if anyone wants to take care of themselves, they want to look younger, they want to be slimmer, they want to be like rock solid. They have to know about inflammation because it's the biggest cause of health, of any weight and health problems. Period. End of story. So inflammation, there's 2 types. And this is super important because one is so good and the other is so bad. So a short-term inflammation, we want this. We want this because if you break a bone, you come down with a cold, or your immune system, gets crazy, you want these cells to fight off infection. You want this. But long-term, ongoing chronic inflammation is terrible. It's like this forest fire in your body that you can't put out. And this is major trouble, major, because chronic inflammation sickens your body and it makes you put on weight because these fat cells are inflammatory. So you add these extra pounds and a vicious cycle begins. It's crazy. You have inflammation, it leads to weight gain leading to more inflammation, and it's a total cluster.
Round and around they go.
So like achy joints, fatigue, bloating, constipation, puffiness, depression. Like how many people do you know have that?
I was just going to ask, well, how do you know if you have silent inflammation? And I think you just listed what's so scary about all the things you just listed is these are all the things that everyone every day is going, oh, my joints
every
are
day.
right.
Would you think, I'm a little depressed, like I feel puffy. Like how many people, like they feel like they swallowed a bowling ball after they eat, right? That is a sign, right? This is a silent killer. Not only, we were talking today about, losing weight, looking younger. We all want that, but we really have to key into inflammation and understand it's a silent killer. Right. So it's the common underpinning of all of these modern day diseases that we see today. So diabetes, heart disease, obesity, all of these kind of diseases, autoimmune problems, they have this underpinning, which is inflammation. So if you know that it exists and you can identify some of these symptoms, achy joints, fatigue, bloating, constipation, puffiness, depression, all of these things, you can nail this. But just remember, that it sickens your body and makes you put on weight because they're inflammatory cells. They lead to pounds. And remember that, that hamster wheel.
Well, and that's so important too, because people are trying to fight losing weight the wrong way. They're trying to attack it like it's a math equation. Yeah. When, if you've got chronic inflammation, you can lower your calories all you want and you will not be losing the weight. And I know you've seen this.
Yeah, you don't have the right roadmap. So the important thing is to getting the right roadmap is that you get help from experts who understand. And the second thing is you have to know the why behind the what, which is why, I talk about a little bit of the technical side of inflammation, and it's not jazzy and it's not sexy, but you have to know it. You have to know it because it's so important. It's the underlying foundation of everything. And if you want to know if you have this and you say, you know what, I have some of these symptoms, but I really want to know, do I have it or not? That's when I would say, go to your family practitioner, whomever you go to, get something called a C-reactive protein. CRP, super easy. It's a blood test. It's not expensive. You can go in and they can tell you if you have the silent, and deadly inflammation.
Okay, so HSCRP, go get that blood test. It's so crazy to me. There's two things I'm amazed at when I get to look at labs from clients. It's like, why aren't we always running that and running a vitamin D? My goodness,
Oh my God. That's, it's nonsensical. I hope everyone keyed into what you just said. Everyone should have that baseline, vitamin D and the CRP. Those are something that if you don't know what those numbers are, go out and get them. And I'm a huge fan of supplementing with vitamin D, as I know you are. But you know what? It's a hormone. At the end of the day, it's actually a hormone, but that's why it's so protective. It protects you against everything. So you need to know your baseline. So get a baseline and start supplementing with vitamin D. And I'll tell you what, everything from cancer to the common cold, that's what it protects against. So it's worth knowing about and understanding.
Now, I know that you said there were two silent or hidden reasons. You said two.
I did.
I heard one, right?
I got to say the second one.
Yes.
And so this is the Italian version of a podcast, which means that I talk too much, too long.
I just know I'm like going, they're all going, what's number two? What's number two?
Okay, so number two, the big moment. And so if I could send off like bells and whistles and like have balloons all over the place now, I would, because this is like such a big thing. They have a sick gut. So the second reason why people can't lose weight is because they have a sick gut. And here's the story. Here's the backstory to this. Your gut contains all of these, what we call microbes. There's trillions of them. And so what I say is like, you actually have an entire ecosystem right inside of you. It's living inside of you. So what I learned in Switzerland was interesting from the doctors there. They would bounce up and down and say, oh, you know what you really are? You're really just big bags of bugs. So, I mean, this, don't let this freak you out. It's actually a good thing. Because, these are bacterial cells in your intestinal tract. And you can think of this like your soil.
Well, it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing.
Exactly. So think of it this way. If you pot a bunch of plants in soil that's sick or toxic or lacks nutrients, your plants are not going to thrive. They're going to die. It's the same thing for you. Your gut microbes are involved in everything from helping you to digest and metabolize your food to keeping your immune system in check and keeping your skin beautiful. And you and I know this, JJ, most of your immune system lies in your gut. And everything rises and falls on your immune system. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just basic science. So if you want to keep your immune system in check, you got to keep your gut in check. But there's also like a litmus test. And I don't know if you do this, JJ, but you can basically look at anyone, at their skin, and you can tell how healthy their gut is. It's a fact. When you feed these bugs the right food, your skin looks amazing. But when you don't, your gut gets inflamed, and it's not a pretty picture. It damages the walls of your intestines. This is not what you want, because you need those intestinal walls to be locked in strong. They have to be like a force to be reckoned with, so nothing gets in or out, because if that doesn't happen, you develop leaky gut. So we know about leaky gut. It's like little holes in your gut wall. They allow toxins in and out. This is not good, because your immune system, it identifies these little particles that escape out as foreign invaders. So it's like your body goes wild, and this inflammation spreads throughout your entire body, and it makes you sick and it makes you fat. So if you don't want to gain weight, you have got to handle two things. You've got to handle the inflammation, and you've got to make sure your gut health is in order. And what's so beautiful is that when you handle the inflammation, you live an anti-inflammatory lifestyle instead of a pro-inflammatory lifestyle. You can knock that out, because in most cases, that's enough to make your gut super healthy. But those two things have got to be in place.
And you know what's so cool is it happens so quickly, and people who've been struggling forever can turn this around so quickly. And that is what's so fun. And I know you've got some ways that you heal this.
I do.
This. So share some of your secrets here.
I'd love to share the secret with you, because you can really rebuild what I call your ecosystem. And when you do this, you're going to notice that the pounds fly off so much quicker. It flows so much quicker. And I want to talk about a little bit, just say something really quick about this research that was done that it just blew my mind. So when I heard this, I said, oh my gosh, this is really a missing link. And they did this research where they identified pairs of human twins. One twin was obese, the other one was slim. So they transferred all the stuff in the gut from these twins into mice. And guess what happened? The mice with the bacteria from the fat twin got fat. The mice from the bacteria with the slim mice stayed slim. So it tells you it's really critically important. And this was it was in the New York Times. This is not soft science. Mm-hmm. This is the real stuff. So it really does make a big difference. And so you said something really beautiful. And that's something that really is where the hope comes in. This happens so quickly, so quick that it's only 21 days, because that's the cellular turnover in your body, in your intestines. So if you can just picture 25 feet, that's how long you've got that coiled up inside of you with all of these cells. And guess what? Every 21 days, you have an opportunity to build a healthy gut. And that's what's so amazing.
And you know what's really important for people to hear here is, if you are struggling right now, if you feel like you are trying so hard and it's just not working, because that's what I know we've both seen this, and it's when you dial this in, it becomes effortless. It becomes automatic. All of a sudden, all the struggle is over, and you look 10 years younger. You look like you went off to a spa. Weight loss is effortless. You never get up in the morning and go, God, I'm bloated today. What happened between today and yesterday? All of a sudden, I look like I'm pregnant. And all that stuff is gone. And just think about a life like that, where you no longer ever have to worry about which side of the closet you're going to choose your clothes from.
And you know what? And how many times have you and I been out to dinner where we actually enjoy eating and we actually have fun? This is not a prison sentence.
Yeah, I think we have some fun when we're out eating, don't we, girlie?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh
No,
yeah.
we're
So I
not
mean,
suffering. That's for
this
sure.
this is not about suffering, because you and I, we both know that it doesn't have to be that way. But that 21 days, you have to understand how regenerative your body is. That's the whole game here. Your body is constantly regenerating, and that's what makes it so beautiful. I mean, red blood cells every month, your skin cells every, 2 to 12 months, nerve cells 2 to 7 years. You can basically build a whole new body. But these intestinal cells turn over in 3 weeks, and we can make that happen with some really amazing foods. It switches your body into a really efficient system, and it can make all the difference. So I would love to tell everyone about these fat burning foods that I
don't
use.
think anyone wants to know about that.
No, no one wants to know about fat burning foods that
Not at
reboot
all.
your system.
Oh, well, I do. So just at least tell me.
So I'll tell you. Just
You guys
pretend
can
we're
plug
having a
your
glass
ears.
of wine. Pretend we're having a glass of wine, enjoying ourselves. So the first one's so simple. And, sometimes I think when things are simple or they're an oversimplification, they don't put as much credence into them. And they certainly should, because some of these simple things are really powerful. And so the first one is, I've seen it. And I also want to state that, I've been a clinician for over 20 years. So I may look really young, everyone.
Well,
and beautiful.
it's because you're eating these foods.
Yeah. So it circles back to what JJ said. Like, how would you feel like waking up every day and not feeling that bloated and all that? It doesn't matter your age either. I mean, we need to talk about that. I mean, this is how you become ageless. And so easy foods, lean protein. Don't forget about lean protein. This is really powerful. And the healthier that you eat that protein, the healthier protein that you get, the more fat burning anti-inflammatory nutrients you're going to get, because there's a hidden nutrient in there that I love. And especially if you can get pastured meat, eggs, things like that, it's called CLA, conjugated linoleic acids. This is so powerful. Choline is in there, other really nutritive factors, but I'm telling you, protein does so many things for your blood sugar. We know all of this, but understand that there's also nutrients like CLA, conjugated linoleic acids, that reduce inflammation. And guess what? They burn fat in a different kind of way. Because you know how some people, they get skinny, but they don't have that lean look?
Mm-hmm. They're the TOFI people, the thin outside, fat inside people.
I love that. I have not heard that term. I've heard of skinny fat. And it's kind of the same thing. But these CLAs, they put a different kind of look on you, or weight on you. Like, they take weight off in a different way. Mm-hmm. You get really lean.
They help you burn your belly fat off, which we love.
It sizzles belly. Like, I have to do sound effects, JJ. I love it. So, like, lean proteins are really good. Keep it simple. Just when you're building a plate, you've got to really think. When you're building a plate, keep it simple. You want the protein in there. You want, you want your greens on there, and you want a healthy fat. Think about that when you're building your plate. It's really simple, but that protein goes a long way in burning fat, rebooting your system, and helping you look younger. So don't think that it's just protein. What's the big news here? Well, keep it in the forefront of your mind. The second is, this is a crazy word to some people, but I love fermented foods, because we talked about inflammation. We talked about healing the gut. We talked about how they go in unison and how they make all the difference in the world. Well, fermented foods, if you can get a little bit, I say just try to get a little bit every day to start really going in there and healing your gut. So fermented foods are just foods that give you that healthy bacteria we talked about. We said that, hey, we've got trillions of these microbes in our body. We've got this bacteria, and the name of the game is to keep the good stuff in there at a higher level than the bad stuff. So we want to keep that population, or that ecosystem, healthy. And so fermented foods help keep that population on the healthy side. So these foods have a lot of probiotics in them, which feed the gut. They've got enzymes in there, which are terrific.
Okay, give everybody a couple examples of fermented foods, because, of course, I'm just over here going, sure, I'll have some wine and chocolate, Dr. Kellyann. No problem. No suffering over here.
No, you're not okay with that. Here's a tip. When you're buying fermented foods, when you open the jar on a lot of these foods I'm going to tell you about, you're going to hear like a little sizzle. And that's what you want to hear. That's when you know that it's really locked in there with some enzymes. And a really popular one is an Asian superfood. It's called kimchi. Kimchi, every grocery store that you go to is going to have kimchi. So I've worked this program with so many people, and I've never had anyone have a problem finding it. It's simple to find, and it's basically cabbage, and sometimes they put beets in there, and they have this fermented process, and the lid's sealed on there really tight, and you get all the good bacteria. So that's one way. Sauerkraut is another way, but here's the key with sauerkraut. You got to get it where it's in the refrigerator, because the sauerkraut that you find in the jars, all the good bugs are killed. So you're not going to get it. So all kind of ways to get this. I mean, another one that I love, there's pickled beets. It's actually very good. Sour pickles, when those pickles are really sour, that's usually a fermented kind of pickle. And then there's kefir, like water kefir. I love water kefir. You find that in the refrigerated section. Usually you have to go to a health store.
Truthfully, coconut water kefir saves me because
I love it.
I drink this Kavita stuff. It's sitting right here, right now.
Ooh.
I'm having my strawberry ACI coconut Kavita water, and it saves me because honestly, all the rest of that stuff, it's just like yoga. There's things I really want to do. I want to meditate, do yoga, and eat fermented foods. But in the reality, none of that's happening. so I have my Kavita.
So kefir, coconut kefir.
Yeah, so that's what I do. So see, there's always, and I think the lesson there, if you were like making a little, baby face like I was when she was saying this, is there's always a way to find it, especially when you know the benefit of it, that's going to help you lose weight, heal your gut, look 10 years younger, totally worth it.
Well, yeah, and I do, but I do hear you, and I do see the point. And by the way, I drink coconut kefir too, and I love it. The point of the story here is just find one of these ways that suit you. I actually, a lot of times I buy the kimchi in the grocery store, and it's just something I have in the morning. I just plop it on something that I'm having during the day. And after a while, your gut will start really responding to this type of lifestyle, this type of food. And so maybe you not have it every day. Maybe you have it a couple times a week. You'll know. You'll know in the way that you're feeling. You're not going to have puffy underneath the eyes. You're not going to have a red or ruddy skin. You're not going to feel like you're going to start losing that belly fat. You'll know. So the third and my absolute favorite, woohoo!
I bet I know what it is.
Yeah, well, you tell me. What do you think it is?
I'm just thinking it could be bone broth.
Yes. So I'm
Dr. Kellyann is known for her bone broth diet. So, it was an easy guess.
So I'm like a crazy woman about bone broth, and here's why. So I've used it in my clinic, and I've used it on myself for 9 years. And I think it is the missing link for so many people that are looking to solve these problems that we're talking about today. And all bone broth is I know it sounds a little freaky to some people, but I actually call it my liquid gold, because it's like the 1-2 punch. It's like eat a great diet. Like we're talking about these things to eat and to keep in mind and to remember and to understand the why behind the what. Okay, fine. But if you were to ask me, what is the one thing that I can do? What is your one? What is your one thing? I would say for me, and all these years of practice, I would say if you only were to do one, it would be my liquid gold. And liquid gold, by that I mean bone broth. And so you have to remember that it's not regular broth. I'm not talking about, a can of soup. It's very different. I mean, that's what people think. They think that, is she talking about soup? And it's really very different. And so bone broth, by the way, and I'll tell you exactly what that is in a moment, used to be very common. So basically what I've done is rediscover something that's actually been around for a long time. And it's how so many families over the course of history have taken care of themselves. And it's how so many hospitals way back, they actually took care of their patients. So bone broth is nothing more than this. You take bones, and we can go over what type of bones, but you just simply take bones and you throw them in a pot. You put some water over these bones, and then you put in seasonings that you like. Maybe it's garlic, maybe it's salt, maybe it's pepper, whatever it is. I like lemongrass. It makes me feel like I'm like, in Bali or something, like on a beach. It's just a really good warm feeling for me. You just take all of this and you simmer it on a stock pot, or you can do it the really easy way. You throw it in a crock pot. And what happens is, over the course of time, whether it's somewhere between 12 and 18 hours of this simmer period, all of the good stuff from the bones come out. They go into this broth. And let me tell you, kapow, the power, the deep healing power that you get is absolutely astronomical. I've seen this myself so many times in clinic, make someone's skin look absolutely crazy good in 21 days of using the broth. I've seen it heal shingles. I've seen people with the right diet and bone broth. I've seen them reduce insulin. I've seen them go off of insulin. I've seen everything you can imagine. And I'm talking about the 21 days. I'm talking about using this broth for 21 days. I have it every day of my life.
So you have it every day. What happens when you travel? How do you do
I have it every single day. You're going to think I'm crazy nuts, but a lot of times I bring it with me because this is just my level of commitment. I bring it with me in a thermos. And I have one of those little Instapot things, and I use Instapots. I've brought coolers with me. I've done all kind of things. And guess what? So many of my patients, they get addicted to this stuff, and they do the same thing. But I'm actually, I'm coming out with a product, and it'll be out in the next, say, 6 months or so, that's going to make this very simple. Because I want people to have this every day. I want people to see what it can do for you. We talked about the gut, how you have to heal the gut. This bone broth does this better than anything that I've ever seen. And that's why I became so excited about it, because I know how important it is to heal the gut. Now everybody knows. It reduces inflammation. It's got glucosamine and chondroitin in the broth. So if you have achy joints, this may be your answer. This may be your answer. I cannot tell you how many patients that we've had come in that have gone on the broth and they can't believe the difference in their joints.
Wow.
Yeah, study. And by the way, I keep talking about studies because I just like science. And glucosamine and chondroitin, the studies behind this are so strong. They're so strong. I mean, they've done all kind of double-blind tests and studies, and it's been unbelievable what they've found. So the other thing I want to mention about bone broth is it's filled with something called gelatin. And that's the key to healing your gut. And this is cooked collagen. And so the word collagen may strike up something for many people because we hear about collagen a lot of times in these skin products. So a lot of these high-end skin products, they have that collagen in there. But guess what? This is a different kind of collagen. This is collagen that, is so absorbable. It's the building blocks for collagen in your body. So it helps your body make collagen naturally. And you want that because that's the glue that holds everything together in your body. So if you can think of your face and think like, okay, it's like Spanx for the face.
Mm-hmm.
I
love that. Spanx for the face.
It like lifts you in, it sucks you in and lifts you up. It just makes your skin so beautiful. So again, in terms of weight loss, in terms of beauty, in terms of healing, in terms of feeling like just the deepest nutrition, like down to the core, this is my one thing. It's my one thing. So, I hope everyone, I hope they go out and get Dr. Kellyanne's Bone Broth Diet because as you can see, I truly believe in it. It's true, tried, tested. And it really, go out and get yourself some bone broth. You can buy it online. You can make it yourself for very inexpensive. Just start drinking the stuff.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. I want to pull up one more thing because you talked about this is you make it and then you can put some in your fridge. How long will it last? And then you could throw some in your freezer too, right?
6 months in your freezer, which is a long time. So you can really, like, if you're like my Italian, aunts and grandmom and all that. I mean, they would stockpile stuff up. And by the way, you can keep it in the freezer, as I said, for 6 months. And every study out there, that Penn State did a big study, and they showed that incorporating broths and soups into your diet will have you weigh 10 pounds less a year. So, it's really great because it reduces, when you have bone broth with meals, it reduces your need for other food. Mm-hmm. So it's all around good. It's all around good.
Yeah, what I love about this bone broth diet, it fits in perfectly with both Virgin Diet and Sugar Impact Diet, by the way.
Of course
and
it does.
It's just because I'm all about the gut, the gut. But it's just such a beautiful, easy thing. Fermented foods, yay, obviously, they're fantastic.
I'm pushing back. I'm pushing back.
But, throwing in the bone broth is just such a great, you're inspiring me here on the bone broth. I have bone broth in my freezer. It's in my freezer. Oopsie. So I will be yanking that out. And, I travel with my blender and my shake mix. So why not what the heck? I'm already traveling with a NutriBullet and a shake mix. I'm sure I can throw in a thermos too.
Look, and if anybody out there has not seen JJ in person, okay. So we're the same age and she's like, you'll want to look like her. So if you think that like carrying around like a blender and a thermos and like that seems like it's like, forget it, it's not worth it. You got to trust me, it's worth it. It becomes so ingrained in you. It just becomes such a part of your DNA to do these things because, you wake up and you don't feel like you feel like living. And it makes a huge difference.
Well, it also allows you to travel, which, both of us travel like crazy women.
Oh, my gosh.
And it allows us to travel and never get sick, never have any issues. And so this is my next part of my travel regimen. So thank you for that. You've convinced me, and I think this is a perfect thing to add in. And I highly recommend your book. I'm super excited about it. And I think you're going to start a revolution out there. And it really, in a new way for, really, 50 really is the new 30. It honestly is.
So
and that is what is the most exciting is that all of a sudden you look and you go, gosh, I'm just getting better. I'm getting better. And so you can have that, but it's all about what you eat. It's not, yes, these things you put on your skin matter, but they cannot counteract what you're putting in your mouth. So what you're putting in your mouth is all important. And when you see Dr. Kellyann, and you'll see her on public television, she is a hottie. She looks amazing. 20-year-olds would kill to look like her. And it's all about the bone broth diet. So thank you so much for just imparting that wisdom. And if you see me, I know someone walked up to me in the airport yesterday. And next time you walk up in the airport, I'll probably have my thermos with me. So there.
All right. That's what I tell you. That's what I'm here for. I'm glad I can impart that information. And we have such an aligned philosophy in food, and it really is an amazing thing. And what I want to ask people to do is watch who you listen to. Okay, watch, because paradigm is everything. I just want people to just kind of anchor into that for a minute. Watch who you listen to and where you get your information, and see if that's the role model that you want to buy into. And, we live it, and we both are living the most amazing life that we could live at this time in our life. And so I think that it's all about now. It's about now, and it's a great thing. And thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Kellyann, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited about bone broth. I got to tell you, I never was before, and now I am, and it will be part of my regimen. And I'm betting that a whole lot of people listening are feeling the exact same way. So I want to remind everyone to grab Dr. Kellyan's book, The Bone Broth Diet, and also be sure to check in at her website, drkellyann.com. Now, after the break, I'll be answering the listeners' questions, so be sure to stick with me.
Fact: the true cause of weight gain is not calories, it's food intolerance. A negative reaction to certain foods, even foods you thought were healthy, can lead to a variety of symptoms including weight gain, acne, bloating, and lack of energy. The solution is simple: avoid the foods your body doesn't tolerate. But which foods? That's the secret JJ reveals in her book, The Virgin Diet: Drop 7 Foods, Lose 7 Pounds, Just 7 Days. Discover the sneaky 7 foods by visiting jjvirgin.com/books and be on your way to losing 7 pounds in just 7 days.
All right, welcome back. Now, this is the time where I answer a listener's question, and today's question comes from Anna. She wants to know, how do the sugar impact diet and the Virgin Diet work together?
I'm a wife. I'm a stay-at-home mom of a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. I'm a musician and a bunch of other things, depending on which day. So a couple that I know introduced me to the Virgin Diet, and when I did the elimination, I did it for like 2 months because I just couldn't believe how good I felt, and quickly found out that eggs and dairy were my top offenders. I am anxious to start the sugar elimination diet, but my family is getting ready to move out of state, and there's a lot of stress that comes with that, so I'm just trying to keep on track with this, and once we get settled, I can start it. but I really do have concerns as to how to integrate both because, like I said, eggs and dairy still not great for me. And there's a lot of recipes that have dairy, I noticed, and even some eggs.
Well, the deal is I actually built them to work together. So if you're wondering where to start, let's start there. Now, I will tell you, if you happen to start with one of them, then you can go to the other one. So there's no definitive, oh, you must start with the virgin diet or you must start with the sugar impact diet. You can start with either one and then go to the other one. But if right now you haven't started either of them, let me tell you where I would start. Where are you? If sugar is your core issue, I mean, you've got crazy cravings for sugar. You feel like you've just got the sweet tooth you cannot control. Guess which one I'm going to tell you to do? Yep, the sugar impact diet. If you've been struggling with an autoimmune disease, gut issues, inflammation, just weird health issues that you go to the doctor and they just don't know what to do, then I would have you start with the virgin diet. But again, it really doesn't matter which way you start. Both of these diets are designed to help you start with a period of self-discovery where you go, all right, how am I feeling? What's my baseline? Right now, how am I doing in terms of my energy, my focus, my pain in my gut? All of these things that we tend to just accept. We accept them as, oh, they're normal. It's because I'm getting older or whatever reason. They actually can be changed fairly quickly by changing what's on the end of your fork. So you do this assessment and then you check in with yourself. And this is so important because, again, these things that you're feeling that you think are normal, well, what if they aren't? What if they're your body's way of telling you that the food you're eating is actually hurting you? So that's always step one in the personal discovery process, whether you're starting with the virgin diet or the sugar impact diet. Of course, the assessments are going to be a little bit different based on the diet, right? But you're always going to start with that assessment. Then you jump into a reset program or a reset period. In both of these programs, you're going to go through this. Now, in the sugar impact diet, it's obviously during the period where you reset your sweet tooth. You're going to reclaim your sugar sensitivity. You're going to take fructose down as close to zero as possible and dial down your sugar impact. In the virgin diet, it's pulling out the 7 foods that could be holding your health hostage. In fact, if you're eating them, I'm telling you they are. So you can clear out, detox, and reset. We're trying to establish a new baseline, a new normal for you. Now, in both cases, when you get through this reset phase, you go back and you check in. In the sugar impact diet, you're going to go back and test higher sugar impact foods. And you're going to go, well, now how do I feel with this? How's my energy? How's my mood? With the virgin diet, you're going to go back and check each food one by one to see if they're intolerant. If you're intolerant to them, you check in and you go, how do I feel when I do gluten? Do I feel fine or do my fingers ache? Do I feel brain fog, fatigue? What's it doing to me? Am I gaining weight or losing weight? Getting great energy or crashing and burning? What happens with both of these programs is that you learn exactly what works best for you. In the sugar impact diet, you learn exactly what you need where you need to live on the sugar impact diet scales. How much sugar can you eat? Where should you be? Should you live low sugar impact? Can you have some medium sugar impact foods? What are the best choices out there and what are the best choices out there for you? This is so important because you're going to know how much sugar, how many carbohydrates, what level of sugar impact you can have to have great energy, burn that fat off, stay focused, and never have sugar cravings again. Now, with the virgin diet, you find out if foods need to stay out of your diet altogether or if they can be worked in and rotated in. For some people, I've got people that are just out altogether. They've got to keep the gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, corn, peanuts, sugar, and artificial sweeteners out forever. They're gone. But for some people, their eggs, eggs they might feel fine with, and we can rotate those back in. Or maybe a little bit of raw fermented dairy works for them. It really depends on their own biochemistry, their own discovery process. That's why this is so important. You've heard there's not one diet fits all, yet all the books are like, okay, eat this way. So again, this is your personal discovery process. You are going through it. So like you go through the virgin diet, then you work through the sugar impact diet so you really can fine tune the sugar. Or if you do the sugar impact diet, then you go over to the virgin diet to see if there's anything that you're intolerant to. And, the deal is if you start with the virgin diet, it's going to make it easier to go into the sugar impact diet because you've already pulled out corn and gluten. It's just where you're going to focus. And that's so important. I find that it's easier to do these things when you really focus. So in one, you're focusing on food intolerance, and the other, you're focusing on sugar. Whichever one, it allows you to really deep dive into that area, to fine tune it. And after you've done that, the next logical step is to go on to the other program and take it to the next level. Now, once you've done that, you've really designed a diet and a program that can work for you for the long haul. And it shouldn't feel like a diet. I don't even like to call it but that's what we recognize. So the publishers were like, you gotta call it a diet. It's just really figuring out what supports you, what supports great health, how you should eat. And I recommend that once a year, do the Virgin Diet again to check on food intolerance, because you can actually acquire a food intolerance at any time. And then once a year, you check in with the sugar impact diet to make sure that your sugar impact hasn't been creeping up, because it can. Sugar sneaks in everywhere. And then make sure that you're staying sugar sensitive. So what would be great is you start with one program, you go through all of that, give yourself a little rest, and go into the next program to fine tune that. And then every 6 months, alternate. Do the sugar impact diet. 6 months later, do the Virgin Diet. It's just like sharpening the saw. So as Stephen Covey, I was really fortunate early on in my career to spend a day with Stephen Covey with 50 other people, the 7 Habits guy who is now deceased. What an amazing, extraordinary man. And he talks about sharpening the saw. And that's what I see this as. It's just continuing to refine the process, because think about it. Health is a journey. It's not like you're going to do this and be done, right? We're never done. Now, if you'd like to submit a question to me, just go to jjvirgin.com/ask and you can leave a voicemail. And I love hearing from you. And one more way I'd love to hear from you, I would hugely appreciate it if you would jump on Stitcher or iTunes and leave a review for me, because it helps so much. And be sure to subscribe and share the show with your friends. All right, this is JJ Virgin signing off and reminding you that you are worthy. Dare to live a life that matters.